So I scored a water tank for a fair price. One of my viewers suggested I collect rainwater from the gutters off the roof, and I don't know why that hadn't dawned on me before, but it hasn't. So that's what we're gonna do. So I got a tank. When it got here, I unscrewed the discharge pipe, had to make a wrench and hosed it all out, and it was actually pretty clean. It just had a few leaves in it. And then I had to make a tool to hold the little fitting from the top to get it started, but it went pretty well. So it's back together. What I have to do now, or what I'm gonna do now, is to make a fine screen to drop in the top to screen out small leaves and stuff. I think I'm gonna put a coarse screen in the gutters where the gutters will drop into a downspout or whatever. And I'm gonna put a fine screen in the tank. So I've got my stainless steel window screen here, or whatever kind of screen it is. And I'm gonna make some sort of basket that is I can drop in and take out every now and then and clean out. Right now, this tank does not have an overflow except for coming out the top. So if I put a basket in the top to catch the leaves and other stuff, and it rains a lot and the water fills up and overflows, then the basket's going to be sitting in the water. So what's the heck good does the basket do? So I'm going to put an overflow about right here. That's the 250 gallon mark. And I'm going to make my basket just a little shy of that. So whatever is in the basket should not ever be sitting in the water. And I can lose a little bit of volume, that's okay. So I got a bucket of old fittings that I almost threw away when I cleaned up the shop 2 weeks ago. And I'm glad I didn't. So I have a plastic bulkhead fitting. So I'm gonna drill a hole. I'm gonna put this there, and I'll probably shove it with some bronze wool or stainless steel wool to keep the bugs from coming and going out this little. So from the top to the bottom of my overflow is 10 1/4. So if I make my basket 10 1/4, it should never be sitting in the water, at least just maybe momentarily during a flood, but normally not. So try to make a basket 10 1/4, and it's it's not easy folding this stuff. I think I'm gonna have to cut this stainless strip off because it's messing with the program. Ooh, I'm glad I checked this. I was using this, which came off of here, to bend the screen wire around that inside perimeter, but the hole is a little bit smaller than this, so I would have got myself in a pickle. I would have made that basket too big to fit in the hole. I'm gonna measure this, and I don't know how I can get that thing around. I gotta get it around somehow. Maybe I'll cut some plywood circles to bend it around. I don't know. But anyway, this is not the right size. It's got to be smaller. This is the magic measurement. This is the inside of the hole going into the tank, and it looks like this is 7 1/2. So I'm gonna shoot for 7 1/4. Give myself some space to get in there. Look at what I found. 1 gallon paint can. Fits pretty well. So I'm not going to use the paint can, but I'm going to use the paint can to form the screen around and try to fasten it together some kind of way. So now I got a mold, so that's it's a big step forward. So first thing I had to do was cut off the little extruded things that hold the handle to the paint can, and I realized this paint can is 100% plastic. There's no steel on it. Interesting. And then I found a scrap of fiberglass from my boat building days and cut a little strip out of it. This will be the splice where the screen comes around. I'll just glue both sides of the screen to this little strip of fiberglass, and the fiberglass will not contaminate the water in any kind of way. It's pretty much inert. So then with the flap wheel, I gave it a good clean and thinned it down a little bit. I wanted to make sure the epoxy would stick well and get some of the old dirt off of it. It's been laying in the yard a long time. So then I measured and I remeasured and I re-remeasured and I cut the screen, and hopefully it's the right circumference to go around the can plus an inch of overlap. That's my goal here, and it worked out okay. So with the hot glue gun, I put a little bit of glue on the ends and on the side where it's not going to affect anything, just to hold this thing in place. because wrapping that screen wire around the can was hard enough without trying to keep this thing in the right place at the same time. And to make this even more fun, I could not find 1 inch of string in my shop, of regular string. The only thing I found was some fishing line, which I pretty much can't see. So I'm using fishing line to wrap the screen tightly around the paint can, and I made lots of loops. I went like every inch, around and around and around. I got to the end and I couldn't tie it because you got to be able to see something to tie it. So I put a little spring clamp on the end of the screen that sticks out past the paint can, and I just wrapped the fishing line around the handle of the spring clamp enough times where it stayed. And it worked. It worked surprisingly well. So now that the screen is wrapped snugly around the paint can and the joint with the fiberglass backing plate is pulled up snug, I put epoxy. I painted epoxy, and it went through both layers of the screen wire and onto that fiberglass. It's like a batten, and put this thing away for a day and let it get hard. No, it worked. It's amazing sometimes when things work. You know you're getting old when you have something quite different, like a flat sheet of fiberglass material in your shop, and you don't have a clue where it came from. Not a clue. So back to the beginning of the video. I had been planning for months on drilling a water well. I don't think it would have been a problem. I was looking forward to it. I'd done a lot of research. I was ready to go until I found out that the state of Mississippi requires you to have a license. You have to be a licensed water well driller. And I've been known to bend the rules, but I decided that I wouldn't do it because my son Colin's going to build a house one day. He's going to get a water well driller, and I can just picture this guy reporting me for having a well that didn't have a tag on it. So since I've been thinking just about drilling a water well, I haven't thought much of other options, and then Mr. Sloan suggested this catching with the gutters and downspouts in my brother-in-law's camp that was out in the marsh before the hurricane took it away. That's what he used. He never had a problem with it, so that's what we're going to try. And I think it'll keep enough water for us, the limited amount that we're going to be there. It's not like we live there. That's a big difference. It's just a weekend getaway kind of place. Time for the glue up. I'm using epoxy, and I didn't put thickener in it because I want it to go through both layers of screen and adhere well to that batten. So the trick then is to have it not run all over the place because it tends to creep after you set it. So being pretty careful, and then I put some glue on the little ring that I cut from the mystery sheet of fiberglass, and I put screen on it, and I clamped it, and this will be the bottom. And then the frustrating part about dealing with epoxy, you just have to leave it alone. It takes all day, especially when it's cool. You see I've got a sweatshirt on, so it's not hot. It's cool. So clamp it and forget it. Well, my paint can lid apparently didn't seal too good. So while it was leaned over today, we got a little leak. Some on the floor, but it's a shop. We'll clean it up. Well, this turned into a little mini nightmare with a leaking pink paint going everywhere. And then yesterday afternoon, the epoxy still wasn't hard. I was kind of worried that I mixed it wrong, but it's hard now. So, and the little bottom piece is hard. So I'm going to see if I can't take this contraption apart. Yeah, that came out pretty easy. I just stacked up 2 quart cans and just pushed the gallon can out because I had it all wrapped with plastic. Still getting pink paint everywhere. This is going in the garbage. All right, with the help of some strong solvent, a little wire brush, and the torch, I got all the pink paint off. And the bottom cured, and it's a little bit too big. I was hoping for it to actually go on the inside of the sides so I could bend the sides over a little bit. So I can make it smaller with the grinder and the flap disc. but it's still early in the morning, so I'm gonna have to wait so I don't wake up my neighbors. So I can't put the bottom in because I need to grind and it's too early in the morning. The top will go right here at these black marks. That's my 10 1/4 inch marks. So if I can make cuts and bend this over without using a grinder, then I could go ahead and attach this to this with more epoxy. I just don't know if my snips will cut it. Okay, I got a setup here to cut some strips. I tried with the snips and this is what happens. It just folds over. But it's later in the morning. It's after 7. With the grinder, I'm gonna cut a bunch of slits and bend these over, and this will be the top. So I bent out a bunch of ears on the screen so it would fit over this little black flange. And I think when I turn it over without the clamps on it, I'll be able to keep it straight because I have enough of these bent where I can see what's going on. I'm gonna apply epoxy. I'm gonna turn it over and put it on that plastic. I'm gonna clamp it some kind of way, and then I'm done for the day. But I need to grind away this little piece of fiberglass because it's not going to let it lie flat. So I'll just remove that totally. So I think this needs to go in the clamping hall of fame. I got the ring, the black ring, pulled tight to the screen. I think I have enough epoxy on it to at least hold it. I might have to do another layer after this stuff cures tomorrow. And I think I'm able to set this middle circle at the same time once I get it ground down a little smaller. Look at this, first try after grinding the rough edges off, and it's in there. I'm gonna mix up some epoxy and make it permanent. And after it cures, I might put some more epoxy on the interior from the other end. Just have to see how sturdy it feels. I don't want the bottom to fall off one day. All right, it's 1:30. Did it this morning, and it's hard. Let's unclamp this mess and see what it looks like. Not too bad, not too bad. I put it in the hole and it fits. I got some jagged edges along here that I need to grind back. And I got some jagged edges up here that I need to grind back. But I don't think the epoxy is quite cured enough for that. And I think I'm gonna fill in all these little cut holes, maybe with some fiberglass cloth and some more epoxy. But yeah, this is gonna work. I'm putting the tank back here. It's where we dug up that big stump, and I dug up 4 or 5 pine trees, and it's winter, and this is just a huge slop hole. So I'm setting the tank on a double layer of treated 2x10s. I'm just thinking this is gonna let it settle more stably and maybe keep a root from poking a hole in the bottom or whatever. Just seemed like the thing to do since it was so muddy, and I don't want to wait for summertime for it to dry out. So I got my boards down. We're gonna put the tank on it. We're gonna move forward. So of all the things I've built in my life, I've never hung a gutter before. The fact is, they're easy to hang. All the little parts kind of snap together, and then you put pop rivets and some caulk. They're hard to make look right, look good. I wouldn't want to do it on a house, but on this cabin, it's okay. You see how lumpy that is? I don't know if that shows, but I might have to go back and do some straightening. But just getting them up there, piece of cake. And this little short piece, I can't get it crooked, so it'll be all right. These are the little hanging clips. They hook under this front edge. You go down on top of this, and then you screw them in. If you screw them in real hard, this collapses and pulls the gutter in if you need to do that for alignment. Or after you have it screwed, you can just lift up and bend this. Everything's real flimsy. So, yep, piece of cake. I just used my little impact gun with a 1/4 inch driver and throw them up there. Okay, the big side is ready for rain, which it's not supposed to do for 6 days. So basically I have a house gutter. It drops down into a 2-inch PVC pipe, which is, none of this is welded yet because I'm gonna have to take it off to put the screen on. It's all just stuck together. And this drops into the medium screen, which is like a funnel. I can just pull it out and clean it. This one's gonna be easy. Kind of step on the bumper. I don't need a ladder or anything. And then this drops into the tank through the fine screen. And when I need to pull the fine screen out, just set this to the side. Yeah, easy smeezy. This is kind of gnarly. I need to get 2 better boards, or a better board for this one. And the other side, and where it drops in, the first screen is this stainless steel mesh. this coarse screen. That's over that hole. And then we go to the medium screen and then to the fine screen. And I guess maybe I could put some sort of sock or something in there, but probably doesn't need it. So this side is gonna be a whole lot easier. Ow. A bit. Because it just drops down and in this way. Bending some pipe on my little cooktop. Got to use what you have. Just need a little bit of a bend in here. Try not to cook it too bad. So this 2-inch PVC pipe will not fit in or over the downspout. So what I've been doing is heating them up and kind of making them egg shaped. So they'll go inside and caulk, and that's not ideal. It'd be better if they went on the outside, but they're going on the inside, and I'm siliconing them, so they'll be all right. And I just spent 40 minutes, no, not that long, 15 minutes looking for this little piece, which was sitting right there, but frustrating. Okay, so I'm gonna go heat this pipe up and egg shape it so it fits into this little downspout thing. This PVC pipe is not a good conductor of heat, so it's real easy to burn the outside before the inside gets warm enough to be malleable. See, I burned it a little bit right there, but just got to be patient. There we go. And a dip in my bucket of water, and it's the right shape. Now there's some restriction here, but these are little bitty roofs. They're not going to have a whole lot of water coming off of them, so this is all good stuff. That little bitty roll 45 caused me a lot of grief. It wouldn't stay put. I kept caulking it into place and coming back, and it was moved. So I finally got a strap around it to hold it until all that silicone dries. And I'll get some kind of strap around here. And beneath that goes one of these with the screen. But this one is 3 by 1.5. Should have been a 3 by 2. I grabbed it by mistake. So I need one of these. I got my 245s. This one's gonna go underground. It's gonna be a little different. And I don't like putting 90s underground, so I'll roll 245s. They hardly ever get plugged up. So I'm gonna come down from the little strainer. We're gonna come down, we're gonna roll 245s. We're gonna head this way. This will all be underground. Put another 45 here, head to the tank, and then we 90 up and 90 in, just like these. I won't be able to come up as high because this horizontal run right here going into the tank needs to be lower than the screen box over there, than this thing over there. Otherwise, the water won't go this way. It'll just come up out the... If this is higher than this screen funnel over here, the water will never go in the tank. It'll just come out the funnel. So I'm gonna have to kind of watch my elevations. I don't think I'll have a problem, but I need to correct one of these. I need 2 more 45s. I have the 90. Probably, I better get 3 more joints of pipe. And I need a 10-foot gutter to catch this little piece up here, which is only like 4.5. I guess I could go 5 feet. So that'd be a waste. But I have the end caps. I have the downspout. Yeah. Just got to go back to Home Depot and spend another 50 bucks. I can't get it in and out of that store without spending at least 50 bucks, usually more. But anyway, it's all good. Thanks for watching. I don't know if you learned anything or not, but hopefully it was entertaining. And one of these days, we're going to have a big black tank full of water. Thanks for watching.